Yeah, it's rich in bubbly goodness.
Do you remember when you lost your passion for this work?
I invited another friend. I hope that's okay.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to my channel. I'm Reina Creole, bringing you that spice to sci-fi and pop culture analysis. And after about 3 hours of sleep due to that epic toxic femininity stream last night, I am here with you guys, with my co-host and with an amazing guest that I'm so excited to share with you all. So let me bring up my co-host, Fat Andre Segal.
No, right now for the rest of the show, I'll be Fat Steven Sandre because I kept using that joke, right? Because I'm trying to find someone Sandre. You know?
Oh,
Yeah.
Sandre. That sounds so posh.
You look so awake right now. I'm using that as sarcasm because you're about to take a drink and go, you're a jerk. You're a jerk.
R2 has been full of coffee all day.
I have an IV, but you guys nailed it last night. It was fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
You know, it show's good when you're turning away. You're like, you gotta stop donating. I need to sleep. It's 4 a.m. I gotta go to the bar.
I never thought there was going to be a time where I'm like, okay, we can't do any super chats, or we are never going to. Not that we could end the stream. We couldn't, because we had to wait. We had to wait for Tom, and when we couldn't get Tom, unfortunately, had like a power outage, and like all the communications went down. And at the last minute, I'm like, okay, let me see. What time is it? Oh, yeah, it's morning where Andre is. Let's ask Andre. I'm like, we're going to need you to turn the stream off.
What's great is you guys made probably enough money to actually pay for a decent Picard episode 1 script for season 2. So, you can actually have some quality there. I can't even say that properly. It's not going to happen.
Shoot, I'd rather we just threw a party than
we can throw a party. But I hear you had a great Easter. You took a little vacation off. I've been very lonely. It's sad when. No, not really. Just I talked in the mirror most of it. So
you did.
No, it broke.
It was a good time off to kind of rest, relax, reflect, try to get a little bit of vision down the road of what's going on with my channel. It reminds me of like it was Steve Jobs or Bill Gates, one of them, who used to purposely take off time where they would do nothing except just brainstorm about where they wanted to go and the next steps that they wanted to take the company in. So kind of adopted that same ideal with this, except for I had to pop on Sunday because YouTube doesn't like it if you don't upload anything for a couple of days. Then you go down to the bottom of the list. So I'm not trying to do that. But let me acknowledge these first 2 super chats really quick. So RC from the NYC, my Dominican King, how are ya? I see there's the little teal guy with the mug of coffee. Yes, I really need that.
Thumbs up.
I'm so thankful. And Roger H with the thumbs up super sticker for $1.99 Canadian. Thank you so much. And thank you, Roger H and RC from the NYC, for being members of my channel. And I'm so excited about the content I have coming out for you guys for being
I have one quick request before we do our usual introduction. When you're reformatting the business, please take me with you.
Oh, of course.
I'm opening up my grift now so everyone in the chat can hear it. But we got a good personality. I didn't steal his crown. I just got a new one. But
you got a new one?
Oh, dude, I love his voice.
His voice is awesome. For some reason, I keep thinking about Charlie's Angels, where they heard the voice through the speaker. Never saw his face. Never saw Charlie's face. Just heard his voice. So that's kind of like what our next guest is like. His channel is one of those channels that I found when I first got into YouTube, and just the content that his channel put out, I just gravitated to it, right away. So color me stunned when a couple months down the road, I'm doing toxic femininity on their channel. And one of the coolest days was when I actually got to like hear his voice on a
Live.
stream with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, live. It was really cool because I told Tom, I was like, oh, that's cool. I'd really want to meet Andre. That'd be neat. The next thing I know, Andre pops in a stream. I'm like, oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, unprecedented. Like, yeah, that's what it is. Like, it's really hard not looking at them. It's not like celebrity status, but it's someone you've heard for so long that the voice just makes you go, thank you for the entertainment. It's like, you want to go up there like it's a 90s rave and go, just sign my face, please, and I promise not to drool in front of you. Just do it right on my forehead. Thank you. It made me have a fangirl moment. But here with us from Midnight's Edge is Andre. How are you doing, sir?
I'm excellent. Thanks for having me, and thanks for the kind words. I have to say, I'm honored.
Oh, not a problem.
Humbled.
Not a problem.
Also, before we move on, I have to say, amazing job on the Toxic Femininity stream last night. Of course, as always, excellent job that you do there, but especially last night when you suddenly found yourself with no Tom and no one else being able to do a single thing, and you kept on like troopers for almost 2 more hours. So massive kudos. If I had been in the land of the living at the time, I would of course have stepped in sooner, but that's time differences for you. It was actually pretty funny because I had just like delivered the kids to the kindergarten, and I like checked the mobile to like start listening to Toxic Femininity, as I always do on Tuesdays on the way back, and I was like, wait, what's this? It's still on? Ass is there? He's saying I don't answer. Maybe it's time I should check my Twitter notifications.
I can picture going, who timed out Tom?
Yeah, no, I figured out pretty quickly that, okay, I guess I'm needed here. So I was pretty getting back after that.
It was one of the most surreal, crazy, fun streams like ever. We're just like, what do we do? Okay, we just keep going. We just keep going. Okay, what do we talk about? And it was very easy with the conversation that was going on. The only problem was trying to stay awake. So after trying to get a hold of Tom for so long, and I think we finally got a hold of him, they're like, Reina, you want to go see if you can ping Andre? I'm like, but I'm looking at my time. I'm like, it's 2:30 a.m. Oh, wait, he's hours ahead of me. Okay, he should be up now. Andre, we can't close the stream.
Yeah, and I did get back to you just 20 minutes later. But,
yes.
Yeah.
But you did. I'm like, oh, everybody calm down. I got a hold of Andre, and are just like, oh my God, thank goodness. Okay. All right.
I would like to bring up a thing before we actually get into all of our trap questions, air quotes, just kidding. But you guys on Midnight's Edge hit a pretty big milestone for all your crew, and that is a big congrats. I heard you guys hit 200K over the last few days.
Yes, we did. So thank you so much, both to you and to everyone who made that possible. So that's a huge honor and very humbling. And of course, we're going to celebrate it. So check in on Thursday for Midnight's Edge. I believe it's going to be 11 a.m. LA time. Is when we will be having that 200K celebratory stream. So be sure to pop in for that. So yeah, that's a huge honor to be to have been able to achieve that milestone. And again, it's not just something that we have done. It's our entire community. It's like a joint effort, both behind the scenes and of course the audience out there listening. Like we would be nothing without the audience. So it's all of you guys out there that made that possible. So it will be the celebration of the audience also on Thursday. So everyone be sure to check in for that.
Yeah,
and I do hope that you guys have the time to come in there as well. Of course, you're welcome.
I would be honored.
I did. I blocked off my time in my Microsoft Outlook calendar. Basically, I'm not here. I quit in time, 4 p.m. Eastern. Don't find me. No, they'll email me and it'll go to my phone.
I'll have to dust off my cheerleader outfit, but I'll definitely be there. My pom-poms and everything for you, sir. Just, everyone in the chat's slowly just digging their eyeballs out with a spoon, but it's a mental image that won't go away.
Well, speaking of our chat, let's welcome them. There are 60 of you watching. Thank you so much. Welcome to the After School Special live show where our guest is Andre from Midnight's Edge. So let's see who we have in the chat here waiting so patiently. Valiant Renegade, a channel member. Thank you. What an absolutely great guest pick. I don't know if anyone has interviewed Andre before, or at least not anytime recently. I wasn't aware of it either. And actually, Fat Stephen had put the bug in my ear about interviewing Andre. I'm like, well, maybe he's too busy. I don't know. But not okay. Well, I'll go ahead and ask him. He's like, yeah, sure, I'll come on.
Yeah, I'll make the time. You make the time for important things.
I think the people that we all hear always would like to be like people that watch us or watch different channels would actually like to get to know the actual stories behind the people. So yeah, I thought it was a wonderful idea. That way, Tom didn't have to hear me messaging him with weird memes for like half a day. So he was happy with that.
Well, Tom did send me a meme that said, "You went over my helmet," joking.
No,
that made my day. I love Spaceballs.
It's one of my favorite movies. I always like to make that joke that I have no childhood affection for Star Wars. I've made absolutely no secret of the fact that it's something that like I follow in the interest as a case study and something we do for the channel, but I have like no affection to it per se. I didn't grow up with Star Wars, but I did grow up with Spaceballs. Spaceballs, ironically, is my Star Wars because I was exposed to Spaceballs as a kid. I grew up with that in a way I didn't with the actual Star Wars. Actually, it took me years to even figure out that, oh, this is a Star Wars parody.
I have a question with that. What milestone do you think when your channel hits like 300K, 400K when you guys go to Plaid? When is that going to happen?
When we go to what?
Plaid. Spaceballs. They're in, okay, I ruined my whole joke. They're in the RV and they went to ludicrous speed and they flew over in the plaid color and they're like, what the heck was that?
Oh, right. Yeah, I see.
I failed myself. I'm gonna go fire. I'm gonna go.
No. Well, I'm sure you'll be unfired really quickly because later on it needs you. So,
yes, I do. I do.
I will say 500,000 then.
Okay, we'll push for
that. Yeah, it's important to have goals.
Absolutely. Yeah. Wendy Vegas says, I'm not a stalker, I promise. No, you're just a supporter, and we love the support. Love to see you here, Wendy. Let's see, who else do we have? We have Jedi 6 with us. Thank you so much for being a channel member. Hello, beautiful panel and chat. Well, hello to you, too. Glad you're here. Let's see who else that we have in here with us. We have the lovely Lady Miss. She says, Lorena Creole, hello. And I love the lovely pattern there. That's so cool. I love that. And we have Zachariah 315 that says, howdy, y'all. Well, howdy to you too. Always a pleasure seeing you. Rob Slevin, I hope you all got your beauty rest. I have used every trick in the book.
I was terrified I was going to pop in the stream. You grab like the 2 pieces of duct tape holding up your eyelids like Mr. Bean. I'm like, I can't do this today. I just can't do it.
You know, I was telling Andre in the back, I was just like, I haven't been this sleep deprived since college, but being an engineering student, you're used to being sleep deprived regularly. So
yeah, exactly. You'll get right back into it. And also, I know the feeling because like I'm in Norway, which is quite a different time zone from like most streams are. So like most of the time that I'm actually in the stream, unless it's the morning show, it's around typically like midnight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m. my time. So I'm quite used to that. Getting by with like 2-3 hours of sleep. It's a pain in the ass, but you can sleep when you're dead, right?
Yeah, you find a way to work around it. I'm just like, give me a minute. Eventually, the caffeine will hit my bloodstream, and I'll be up and awake and somewhat coherent.
Exactly.
Let's see who else we have. Pod Racing Palpatine, who is with us. Hello there, waving. Got that thing going on. That's such a cool avatar. I like that. And we have Willie Woodward, who says, sup, Lorena Creole, Andre, Fat Steven Seagal, beat up Twitter and chat. He's always beating somebody up. And
Well,
we have Deck030 says, "Hey all," and smiling. Oh, did I overestimate when I say you're always beating up somebody?
no, actually, I took a break, and it was people demanding I beat up different people. I'm like, what is this? I'm gonna start doing a poll. Then Mandy came in. I'm like, well, this is my new boss in a way. I'm gonna give Mandy.
Well, yeah, she's like
Well,
the second.
I think she wins everyone over when she starts going, "Thank you, love bug."
I know. She's just so
Yeah.
Mandy's my girl. I love her to death. I love being on with her on Toxic Femininity. She's amazing. Michael Jolin, R2 double, please. Hello. Oh gosh, I hear double and I think of In-N-Out Burger in LA. Awesome burgers I miss. One of the few things I miss about living in LA. And Cavitano Cavalry Trooper Che says, "Good evening, Lorena Creole. Good day to Fat Steven and best chat in the community." Yes, our chat is awesome. It's absolutely awesome. Dad Man Walking 55, thank you so much for being a channel member. Says, "Hello, all. Woke up just in time. Was so glad that you did." And we have David Stout. I don't think I've seen you here before. Lorena Creole, is this Andrea?
I have seen so many different varieties of the name that it's probably yes. So,
Andrea?
Well, he has that lovely hair, but I think the goatee would throw off in the Andrea at this point.
Okay. Sorry, I'm a little slow. I get the joke now. Yes, the Andre is. I remember when we had Cameron Pasha on the show about 2 weeks ago, and we saw Midnight's Edge, and thank you for that, the generous super chat, Andre.
oh, absolutely, like my pleasure.
It was just like, is that Andre? Like, is that the Andre? Like, is it Andre? Not Tom, but is it Andre?
I'm the only one who can send Viking money. So.
I was so proud of myself figuring it out. I love figuring out different currencies. That's like my thing. Every time I've gone like overseas, I've come back with like currency. So I love having it like out because it's a nice reminder of that I've been to a different country besides being stuck in the US. Let's see. The Reina made 2 hearts last night. Her hand hurts today. Yeah, for moving the mouse around. That's for sure. And we have Activate LA says, "Hi, everyone." Well, hello to you. I assume you're in LA, the city that I'm a refugee from. And Dan Rodwell says, "Hi, Lorena and Steven." And let's see. There's 2 Andres. Which one's the real one? That's pretty obvious which one's the real one.
Of course, me.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
The
Look at
accent
the
gives it
face. That should be a dead giveaway. Or the voice. Yeah, the accent is probably also a giveaway.
Absolutely.
I'm not affiliated with forcing people to look at my face. I don't have that type of insurance to cover whatever happens after. So I'm going to just back away slowly at this point.
You're too funny. Oh, hell yeah. Toxic Femininity stream. LOL. Yeah, that one is one for the ages. We did not expect for that to happen. But you know what? Some of the best streams are when unexpected stuff just happens.
Yeah, that's when you have to. That's when you have to innovate. That's when you have to come up with ideas fresh on the fly. It's like funny, like on midnight. Like I'll say that one more time. One of the most epic streams that we ever had was like the one when Gina Carano was fired, which of course was a horrible occasion.
Mm-hmm.
But that was a stream that quickly turned into a 7-hour stream where everyone showed up and Uche and Mr. H first started fighting and got into each other's throats and everything. So yeah, that was absolutely epic.
Wow.
Are you referring to the Shapiro interview when it first dropped?
No, this was before the Shapiro thing. This was when it first dropped that she had been fired.
Yeah.
And it was actually the day after that we learned that she was working with Shapiro. So this was like the first blunt reaction.
Yeah, because I think that news had dropped, and I think it was, I want to say after 6 p.m. Eastern, because it was just like a dump of just boom. And then that hit piece came out. There were rumors coming out. Then the Wrap reported on it. And then you started seeing it in what I call the unholy trinity of Hollywood news, the Hollywood Reporter, Deadline, and Variety. And when it came out in those three, we're like, okay, this is big.
Yeah, that's when you know it's coordinated. But also, in terms of like epic streams, the one yesterday, the Toxic Femininity one, was also truly epic. And for those that missed Lorena absolutely nailing it in that one, head on over to Midnight's Edge Live Archives. That's where that is. Plus, all previous episodes of Toxic Femininity are in the Toxic Femininity playlist right there. So do check that out and follow it every single Monday if you haven't done so already.
Yes, absolutely. We just we have so much fun. We love doing that stream. And thank you so much for the $4.99 super chat. Miss Stephanie Janisek, Smuggler's Cantina at dinner, waving a glass of bourbon barrel Chardonnay at y'all. Oh, that sounds so lovely. So
it
lovely.
Does indeed. That sounds perfect. I could use some of that right about now.
You have to tell us what you're pairing that with at dinner. Is it with a chicken dish or is it with something different? That's always my thing about wine. It's like, what are you pairing it with? Unless you're in New Orleans where you have wine for breakfast. It was one of the weirdest things I'd run into, but that's what New Orleans is like.
Something funny about that. I'm actually allergic to the ingredients in wine, so I can't drink it.
Really?
Yep. I haven't really. I've had it once and I broke out in hives. And I haven't had it since.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's wow. I'm allergic to a lot of stuff, but I hadn't heard of that one before.
No, actually, I have. You're reacting to the acid in the wine. That's what you're reacting to, right?
As well as the grapes too. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Grapes and the acid.
Yep.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, Soul Assassin said, kept it professional even with Casino making it rain with the super chats. Yeah, I had to DM Culture and say, look, dude, I love you, but we got to go to bed. Because some of the super chats he was coming up with were just like...
I think he had some bourbon as well at that time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're just like, this isn't normal you. What's going on? How drunk are you, Culture?
Yeah.
That's all good.
The best way to get Culture is just next time you see him where he pops up on the stream, you like just greet him as Chuckles Casino or Cuddles Casino, and he'll just give that look, and his camera will go off for a second to reset, and it's hilarious.
Oh, I don't think Andre's seen the Doomicorn. Hang on, this is what we do with Culture. Check this out. We play that every time we chat.
Yeah. Now I get the Doomicorn reference. Now it makes sense.
Oh, Tom was tired and closed the main breaker. Sorry, no power. LOL. You know, at one time we thought maybe he did fall asleep by accident because he seems like he's everywhere and he's always busy. So we're like, maybe he just fell asleep. Somebody call him. Somebody ping him. And they're just like, we can't get Tom. We can't get Tom. And there's like a whole bunch of us in the green room. Like, can you get a hold of Tom? I'm waiting. I can't get a hold of Tom. It was something else. Oh gosh.
It was epic, but it was a great show for the audience. And
yes.
And sparks flew and magic happened and it'll live on forever.
Absolutely. I think that's going to be my favorite Toxic Femme show.
Yeah, that was one down. for the ages.
Hands down. RC from the NYC says Andre has the voice that would make football soccer match interesting to not only watch but listen to. Oh, absolutely, because I call it soccer because I have to. It would just bore me to death, but you get a good announcer and I'll pay attention.
I have a question though, if it's okay to ask Andre, because
shoot.
First of all, how did Midnight's Edge start, and how did you and Tom meet, or did you guys start it together? How did that all work?
Midnight's Edge was my idea, and I came up with it. I think it was it's almost 6 years ago. I came up with it, I think, on the 10th of April 2015. And I came up with the idea as I was lying in bed and I was falling asleep. And then suddenly the idea hit on me that I'm going to start a YouTube channel. And prior to that thought happening, of course, then I wasn't like fully satisfied in my day job because I'm in finance. So I'm a business analyst by profession, and that pays the bills and it's stimulating and all that stuff. But it's not really my passion. It's never been. I've always gravitated towards genre culture, subculture, entertainment. So like before, I would check out The Economist, the Financial Times, and all the other economy newspapers in the morning. I would check out Coming Soon. I would check out Collider. I would check out Slash Film. I would check out The Hollywood Reporter. I would check out Variety. Then I would check out The Economist and Financial Times and the local Norwegian
I
ones.
remember The Economist. I've had to read that and try not to fall asleep a couple times.
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of like where my passion was. And I spent loads of time on that I probably shouldn't be spending on the IMDb message boards and everything like that. And I would write walls of texts that would enjoy a few people, and then the whole thread would get bumped back and never be seen again. And at the same time, I felt that there's a whole everything is like changing. You have like Twitter, you have social media, and I'm not part of it. I'm starting to feel old. I'm starting to feel out of touch. What can I do to feel more in touch and to be more connected with the stuff that I do something fulfilling in addition to the day job? And then all of those thoughts, they all rolled around in my head at once. And then in bed at nighttime, I suddenly had an idea. Oh, I'm going to start a YouTube channel. And then the idea like formed a little bit in my mind. And I was like, great, I'm going to start doing that the first thing tomorrow. Then I fell asleep. And then and then the day after, then I first reached out to Kevin, who was the guy that I co-started Midnight's Edge with. So he was someone that I knew from the Punisher fan community because I was a hardcore Punisher fan. So we had both been active in the Punisher fan community. He had previously done like a Punisher online radio show. So I was like thinking, this guy, I need him because he has like the genre expertise. He has the technical know-how that I don't. And on top of that, he's an American English speaker because I have an accent. No one's going to want to listen to me, not me alone. So I need a co-host for discussion shows. So I reached out to him and I told him, look, I have this idea. I think that we can start a YouTube channel. And I think that between the two of us, we can probably create content that many will gravitate to, because you look at like the stuff that's out there, they're all parroting the narrative of the day. None of them are asking any important questions. If you hear like a production that has production trouble and they give like this PR bullcrap line, everyone buys it hook, line, and sinker. And if they don't buy it privately, they're not going to say that. They're still going to run with it and say nasty things about anyone who has an independent thought. Well, let's be that independent thought. Let's have like an honest, spin-free take, because that was where spin-free that we still have like in the trailer came from. That was basically like, you're not going to have any of the studio spin. We're going to call it as we see it, and it's going to come from a point of actual analysis. Because again, I'm a business analyst, and I just wanted to apply that to the entertainment industry. So that's kind of like what motivated the formation of Midnight's Edge. So we then developed the format over the course of a week between us. And then a week and a half after the idea first hit, that's when we first went live. And at the end of the first month, April of 2015, the channel had a whopping 15 subscribers.
Congrats.
Yeah, well, thank you. And then Josh Trank and the Fantastic Four happened.
Oh,
or
wow.
at least it didn't happen, but it was like starting to amp up. What happened was that he was fired from Star Wars because he was like helming the Boba Fett movie. And then he was let go.
Oh.
And the PR line was, oh, he didn't have time, so he left. There's no worries, there's no drama, nothing to see, move on.
Mhm.
And we're like, dude, this is a huge, huge thing, because we have all of these rumors and everything that's said to be happening. It's not in the trades, but it's all online. It's all over the forums, all over the message boards, that all of this has gone down. So let's talk about that. Let's do like
Right.
one video, a really short video that just goes through all of the rumors.
Mhm.
And that was the beginning of the current form of Midnight's Edge.
I have something to ask quickly before you go on. I didn't mean to interrupt, but that also means that in 4 days, your anniversary pops up as well.
Yeah, something along those lines, like the 4
Mhm.
days for the idea of Midnight's Edge, not for like the formal launch of the channel.
Mhm.
I think that was like on the 16th of April, something like that. But yeah, it's right
Mhm.
around the 6th anniversary. So that's how long it took to go from 0 to 200,000.
That's crazy.
Well, I know I definitely do appreciate the format that you guys have, that it is no spin. Because one, as someone who like lived in LA for several years, I hated being in that bubble where you just seem to hear this rumor, that rumor. Nothing to see here, but there's everything to see that's going on, in the background. And on top of that, with myself being like someone who's very analytical because I'm an engineer, it's like, I don't care about the fluff. I need you to lay out your case and prove your case to me. And that's what you guys do with so many of your videos on Midnight's Edge. And that's just why I absolutely love that channel. So glad and honored to be a part of it. And I'm not surprised that you guys hit 200K subs, because you guys have your own thing going on with how you approach certain, actually all the stories that you approach. So Saul Leibowitz actually has a question for you. He says, Andre, I'm a big fan of the 1990s action star Cynthia Rothrock. She has been on YouTube for about 8 years. Have you tried to contact her? She would be a great interview.
I was not aware that she was on YouTube, but now that I am aware, I'll certainly consider it. I happen to be a big fan of Cynthia Rothrock myself, so it would be awesome to have her on. She was in some great movies.
What was she in? I probably know her face, but not her name.
She's been in mostly low-budget sci-fi movies, typically like the genre fare of the late 80s, early 90s. Typically stuff with like robots and androids and cyborgs, like part of like that wave. She was frequently like a cyborg. So she was never in like any huge movies, but she was in smaller genre direct-to-video fare.
Oh, okay. Okay. Hey, Mandy. Speaking of the other toxic femme. Thank you. Yes. Like what? Thank you for that $2 super chat, my dear. Says Reina, Big Steven. Notice she didn't say Fat Steven. She
I
said
like
Big
Big Steven. I like it.
Andre, love y'all with lots and lots of hearts.
Yeah.
Oh, girl, love you. I hope you're recovering today.
Yeah, and again, I have to say, Mandy, amazing job last night. That was one for the ages. I love how you recognized Ass's master plan.
Yes. I did take a peek at that. I'm like, oh, well played, sir. Well played.
Did you guys see the clip that premiered this morning from that stream when she started talking about the underwear and the doorstep, and Perry Chan made a clip of it?
Yes, we
I
found out
lost it.
about that as soon as it got put up, because as told us about it, I'm like, oh my gosh, really? And yeah, then I saw it. I'm like, oh man, that's nuts. Oh my gosh, there's like 90 of you guys in here watching. Thank you so much. Andre from Midnight's Edge is our guest, and we're so glad he's here. So I have to ask one of the baseline questions.
Yeah, shoot.
What are your memories of lunchtime at school?
Let's see. I don't think that we had the same kind of lunchtime that you had in the States, in Norway. Like the first thing when you say like lunchtime, then I think of like from like age 7 up to like age 13, you were basically just sitting in the classroom and you were having bread from your lunchbox, and that's kind of like lunch there. And then you would go out and play what you call soccer in like the half-hour break afterwards. It was, however, more fun when we got to our equivalent of high school. Yeah, my memories from that are then we would have like a 45-hour break. And by then, we no longer brought our lunch boxes. Instead, we would head down to the closest mall. And me and a group of friends, and I still am in touch with those friends. Like we go on a trip and we travel like the world and stuff, like on like these guys only trips once a year. So even then, we would then go to like the local mall where there's like a kebab shop, and we would have a kebab for lunch. So yeah, and fun thing is like these guys just last week. They were like, "Hey, let's bend quarantine restrictions a little bit and go to that place and have a kebab." And we did that, so that was pretty cool. And then we were talking about like, my God, like it's how long it's been, and here we are. Like not that much has changed, although everything has changed at the same time.
Yeah, there's that saying: the more things change, the more things stay the same. We had it wasn't kebab. They called it a gyro stand, like at the mall where I lived. Yeah, that was like the thing to do, because it's like it's so different. So that just made me think of that. It's interesting, the people that we still stay in touch with after high school for like years. It's kind of like those are the people, usually the ones that you connected with the most in school. Like today, it's like I've never been to my high school reunion. I'm like, why? The people I hang with, I see regularly.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's like the friends that you make there, and many of them can be like friends that you go back even older. But the friends from there are the ones that probably are going to be like your friends for the rest of your life.
Exactly. Oh, so I have to ask the second question. If it's applicable, square pizza or round pizza?
Round.
I win.
Yeah, you win this round. I guess
well, it's like 800 to 2. Like I win something. Thank you, Andre. I hope you did homework. Is that let's just give Steven a triangle slice and let's get it over with.
I have to ask, because like at least here, like round pizza, like if you go to a restaurant, stuff like that, it's going to be round. Whereas the things here, at least, which are square, are going to be the ones that you buy in a box from the supermarket. So like the quality one is probably going to be round, unless you make it yourself, of course. Then you can make it like as square as you want. But yeah.
Well, here in the States, in school, the pizza usually was like this rectangle thing, because yes, square pizza, because they're making it by volume in the schools. So they put like the pizza dough in like a rectangular cookie sheet, whatever. So they could make the pizza that way and cut it up. So we'd have like this square pizza for lunch, which actually was pretty good, but they were doing it for volume. But since I live here in the Philly area, there was the pizza you got at school. And then after school activities, we'd order from the real pizza places that would bring the round pizza in the boxes, but they would never give us that pizza at school.
Yeah. Well, if you mean at school, there was no pizza, period. So that's easy. But yeah,
no.
but when I have the choice, round.
Yeah,
There you
that's
go.
it. That's the square school pizza.
The best thing about this pizza is technically it's all cardboard, so they don't even have to give you the crust. It's just they just cut the cardboard, put cheese and pepperoni, tastes the same, and the kids were happy because they thought it was real pizza.
Yeah, we were like,
Pretty much
cool,
it.
we got real pizza. And then high school hit, and then sometimes we had the French bread pizza, which was very posh. Wow, we'd have that.
I remember that.
No, you guys had the French bread pizza. Oh, we used to think that was amazing. It's like, oh yeah, French bread pizza. Still rectangular, but
Is that pizza with like focaccia bread with pizza on top? That's kind of like what it sounds like when you
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
That's exactly it. It's like you get,
Yeah.
like your French, well, because focaccia is more Italian, but like your French bread, just like
Yeah.
slice it in half. French bread pizza, or if you're in New Orleans, you use it to make a po' boy sandwich, which is basically French bread toasted with all the sandwich fixings in the middle.
My dad tried to be sneaky with that and tried to pass off bruschetta as like French stick pizza. I'm like, there's no sauce, there's no cheese, it's just tomato and green stuff. What is this? And he's like, it's pizza.
Well,
I'm like, it's
points
not
for
pizza.
trying.
Oh,
Yeah.
Kids are like that. There's no cheese. That's not
Yeah.
pizza. That's some weird tomato bread.
Like-
Get out of here.
Like it may be trying to pull a fast one, but hey, it's still trying.
I tried very hard not
You
to
gotta
eat it.
eat for effort, right? So Andre, wait. El Presidente Abu Nas is in the house. Thank
Hey,
you
Abu Nas.
so much for being a channel member with your $5 super chat. He says, still prepping for Dark Council, but taking a break to have an early dinner and watch my beloved Reina rock the spot. Salute to Fat Steven and Andre. So glad you're here. Dark Council around 8:30-ish over on Abu Nas's channel tonight, where should be him, Demogeni, Fatal J, Drunk 3PO, the
Callus.
Gospel According to Mark with a C, and Lord Callus.
That should be a real hoot.
Awesome show. And they never start on time, and I never let them forget that they never start on time.
Yeah,
I love
on
you
that
guys.
one, I'm not going to criticize.
Yeah. Yeah, that's happened a couple times too on Midnight's Edge. But you guys, you usually come on within about 5 to 10 minutes or so. Dark Council, it can be up to a half an hour, and we're still in the chat talking. Just waiting for it. We don't go anywhere.
I deliberately set the stream to start 5 minutes past the hour always, because I know otherwise we'll never make it on the hour. So yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, so Andre, I know one of the things that I remember from Midnight's Edge is that you seem to have a lot of contacts in the industry. Like I've seen lots of just heavy industry hitters appear on your show. Out of all of those, what would you say was your favorite one?
It's difficult to like, you mean like of people that I talk with that haven't been on the channel, or that have been on the channel?
Who have been on the channel.
Okay, who have been on the channel. My favorite is going to be the first time that we had Gary J. Tunnicliffe on. That was amazing. Because yeah, I know quite a few people in the industry, and that actually goes back to when I was studying, when I did my master's. Some people in my year that I knew, they went on to Hollywood and got like a career there. So they were like my first way in. Then like more people started reaching out later, but that's more like behind the scenes stuff. Whereas for people that have been on the channel, there are like two that really stand out. The first one was when we had the head of New Line Cinema come on. That was a real
Oh,
hoot. Bob Shea, yeah. So
wow.
and that came about so quickly because like Tom, he reached out to me and he said, "Oh shit!" I'm like, "What? What's going on?" "We have an interview with Bob Shea." I was like, "That's awesome." What do you mean? "Oh shit! It's in 20 minutes." To
Oh,
which I replied, "Oh shit!" So that was like the fastest research we've ever done. So yeah,
oh
so that was
man.
That'd be a good side project.
that was food, and we're really happy with that thing. But no, the most fun was the first time that we had Gary J. Tunnicliffe on, because he started out with makeup and special effects design, where he and through that he basically knows everyone in Hollywood more or less, and then he went into writing and eventually to directing, and it was in conjunction with the release of Hellraiser Judgment, which was a movie that many people were biased against because it didn't have traditional star Doug Bradley. So he caught a lot of flack in the media. But having done some research on the situation, I saw that this is actually unfair. And he has, by all accounts, actually made a really cool little movie. So let's see if we can't have him on and talk about it, like the controversies and everything that went down with it. So we reached out to him, and he was a little bit nervous to begin with, because again, he knows that Doug Bradley isn't here. Many YouTubers are really dead set against me and against this movie. Like, is this a hit piece? Are these people out to get me?
Right,
But
right.
he quickly realized that no, like, these people have done their research and they're not against me. And then he opened up, and we spoke for 6 hours.
Wow.
And I
Wow.
was completely blown away by all of the information. Like, of those 6 hours, we released 4 videos, totaling maybe 4.5 hours in playing time. So we still have like an hour and a half of things that were left on the cutting room floor. Many of them deliberate, because they could never ever see the light of the day, because that was like when we got really comfortable and like, okay, this is completely off the record, but here's like these things and stuff. So and if you've heard him on the live shows or even seen those videos, you know that Gary J. Tunnicliffe, he is an absolute delight and a hoot. And he has stories about everyone. Like, I remember, Reina, like one time that he was on, you were in the chat and you asked, like, does he know this or that person? And I asked him the question, and you got stories about
Yes,
it.
it was about Scott Rudin, because he was talking about
Yes,
Scott Rudin, and I'm like,
exactly.
now I've heard stories about Scott Rudin, so let's see what story that he has about Scott Rudin. And I was like riveted, because not only does he answer the question, but just like this, it's like a story when he tells it, and it's like, okay, let me get some popcorn and just pay attention to what's going on. And just the way that he talked about Scott Rudin and the stories, it was just hilarious. He's so personable, and
Yeah.
I truly loved that. He entertained the question, because I did not think he was going to pay attention to that at all. And you're like, oh, Lorena has a question about Scott Rudin.
Can I ask a quick question that's kind of related, Andre?
Yeah, sure.
You mentioned something that it was kind of like apprehensive when it comes to like coming and doing an interview, like say on a YouTube channel. Do you think that the image of YouTube and interviews has that kind of kind of effect on, let's say, Hollywood industry, even if they want to like just talk and stuff, that they think we're out just to attack them and pick things apart, and it's a negative thing we have to push through the way you
Oh,
guys have been over the
absolutely.
years?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Um,
Because what we have found, not just from him, but from many people, both that I have spoken to behind the scenes, as well as people that have been on interviews and that I've spoken with on like later, is that some of them, they are apprehensive about speaking with YouTubers for two reasons. One is that they're afraid of sound bites that can be
Clips,
used
yeah.
against them. So that's one thing. At the same time, they're also worried that the YouTuber might not be professional enough to know where the border is, what questions to ask, and what not to ask.
Hmm.
So it's the line of
Yeah, and
what,
not only that, like the YouTuber, they might be a pundit that previously has expressed opinions that they can't be associated with. And if they go on with that YouTuber, then they suddenly might find themselves in a position of condoning, however tacitly, behavior or attitudes that they cannot be seen to be condoning by their industry peers. So that's like a pretty big deal. Like I'm not going to mention any names, but we have had like some relatively big people in the industry that have been guests on Midnight's Edge that say that we can go on with you guys because we trust you. Like, you have shown that you're professional and you know where the border is. You touch on topics, but at the same time, you are very diplomatic in how you discuss those topics, and you don't step above the line. And for that reason, we actually can be seen to associate with you. So that is something that allows us to get interviews and some level of access, while at the same time not selling out with softball questions and everything like that, like not being access media, because we're able to like walk that line simply by being courteous and professional. So it's not something that we do to get access. Again, like there are many interviews that we haven't gotten specifically because they're like, no, you are toxic and misogynist and what have you not. Like, we've heard that, and we can't have. There are like people that haven't been allowed to have interviews on for that reason, and that's fine, because those are interviews that I wouldn't want in the first place.
do you think it's harder now with the current climate and how, let's say, MSM in general is trying to label certain
Oh hell yeah,
identities or personalities?
yeah.
Has it been
That
harder
makes
for you guys?
no, it's not harder for us, because like if you look at our videos, the ones where we do interviews and stuff like that, they tend to be among the least viewed, and we don't really get anything out of like having them or anything. So if we never have an interview again, like, it's not really going to affect us in any way. That's not the kind of thing that builds an audience or that draws an audience. It's a fun extra thing on the side, hearing the news straight from the source. And that's kind of like what we're interested in addition to, of course, when you have like someone young and upcoming, to profile their work and everything. So that's something that we're all about. But in terms of getting like new interviews and stuff like that, oh yeah, that's absolutely something that is more difficult now. But again, that doesn't harm us. If anything, it harms the ones that don't come on, because here there actually is an audience and a community that would be watching and hearing stories from their mouths, and these actors or producers or whatever no longer get that opportunity. So it doesn't hurt us, it hurts them.
So it's more like you're not creating the bridges of having like a kind of more of a personal environment where they can get to know what the point of view of, let's say, the interviewee and the interviewer is coming from, and that bridge just gets never built because they don't want to take that chance. That kind of sucks.
No, it's not that it's not that they don't want to take the chance. It's that typically there is someone else there there's a gatekeeper there, a PR person or something like that, that says what's okay and what's not okay.
Oh, my bad. I misunderstood.
Yeah. So it's very often, like the people that we speak with, they want to come on, but there's someone else that blocks and gets in the way.
Yeah, there's some people who, and I was oblivious to this until I started getting more into YouTube and seeing who would come on certain channels. You have some people who are extremely apprehensive about coming onto a YouTube channel because there isn't that like publicity filter between them, and the audience. And Andre, like you were saying, we're not the access media. It's like if you want to get in touch with the actual people, this is the medium to do it in.
Exactly.
And some people, the smart people see the power in that. And that's why I'm going to invoke Lucasfilm here. That's why even with people like Lucasfilm, I would not be surprised that they have lieutenants climbing all through YouTube and everything, because that's where the unfiltered opinion is coming from. It doesn't go through an access media filter.
No, that's exactly right. So those that are aware of that, they actually want to come on the YouTube channels that want to have them on. But again, they very often have a PR that might get in the way of that. And we've had that a couple of times. But typically, the ones that we approach in the first place are very often people that we know are approachable. So we haven't had like many issues with that. But again, as I say, if there's some kind of issue like that, then even if you do get that interview, then it's going to be like with stipulations of what you can and cannot talk about. And in those cases, well, we don't want that interview at all. Because if we were to adhere to that, then we would be access media. And that's not happening. So then it's like, well, sorry, not interested.
You would lose your edge in the way then, pretty much.
Exactly. Exactly. That's the last thing we want. Again, like whenever we do interviews, it's a bonus. It's nice to have things straight from the source. But it has to be on our premises. It has to be our questions. And of course, we're going to like do stuff to meet halfway. But again, if they're like, no, we cannot talk about this and we want to talk about this. And if we're like, no, that's not going to work out, then we're not interested.
Can I ask him a trap question, Lyra? Is that okay?
Yeah, sure.
Can I ask you a trap question, Andre? Is that okay?
Well, if it can make you happy, go for it.
Just hearing you talk and say my name makes me happy. I'm pretty simple, but I would like to know. I think a lot of people like to know. What's your favorite comic, if you have a favorite comic book?
The Conan the Savage Sword of Conan from the 70s and 80s. Looking back, that is my favorite comic. And if I had to choose, I'd be hard pressed between that and Judge Dredd, but it would be that one. It would be the Marvel's 70s and 80s Conan stories. Is my favorite comic. Of new comics, ironically, it's still going to be Conan, because Jim Sub, who is writing Conan over at Marvel, is actually doing a really, really good job. And like all of that drivel that they're doing in Marvel right now.
Oh,
with the
new Warriors,
with the new Warriors and the new Captain America, who I affectionately call Captain Commie, where the A stands for Antifa and everything like that. They can't do that with Conan because he's not their character. They license him, but they don't own him. So every single thing that they do with him, they have to have approved by Fredrik Malmberg, who's a Swede and who is the ultimate owner of the entire Conan IP. And he's not going to approve of anything that harms the character. So for that reason, Conan is the badass he ever was, even in Marvel Comics today. So I always say, vote with your wallet. And if you want good comics, the best thing that you can actually do is try to make sales of those titles spike, which is why I always talk them up. So yeah, that's actually my favorite comic. today is that. Beyond that, other like all-time favorites, the Jodoverse comics, they're completely crazy, but they're really awesome. Like the ones that Alejandro Jodorowsky made when he couldn't make his Dune movie. Then he put that to work in the Techno Priests and the Incal comics. So absolutely check those out. Judge Dredd, as I mentioned, Punisher, especially those written by Mike Baron and Chuck Dixon and Garth Ennis, above all. Although I really have a soft spot for Mike Baron. And,
we've had him on our Welcome to Florida stream because
awesome.
he does the Florida Man graphic novel. I can't wait to get my hands on it. It's just hilarious. So it was so awesome to to meet him. So we have him on pretty regularly.
He's
awesome.
a very nice man. Yeah. I enjoy having him on. But that's wicked, like Conan.
I've never had any personal interactions with him, but he's a great writer. And
I'm gonna have to get you guys on a stream together.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'd love that.
Definitely, I'm gonna have to get you guys on. So speaking of Judge Dredd, how did you like the Judge Dredd movie?
The one from 2012 or the one from 1995?
Okay, I'm gonna do the one with 95.
The 1995 one, the one with Stallone. Yes. I liked it fine when it came out because I saw it in 1995, obviously, and at the time I was a kid. So even then I thought that Stallone was wrong for it. At the time I had only read the comics in Norwegian. But still, as I heard the movie in English, and he first spoke the words, "I am the law," I was like, "Oh my God, you're saying it wrong." In addition to
I want a clip of that. That was great. Oh.
In addition to looking all wrong, because he doesn't have the face for it. And but still, it's loads of good things about that movie. The city looked great. The uniform, let's not talk about that. But you should have seen the original designs by Jean-Paul Gaultier. He made he was the one who made the first designs for that uniform, and he's credited for the uniform in the movie. But the one that he actually made, but the one that he made is completely and utterly different from the one that is actually in the movie. So he did a draft for them. He submitted it to them, and they paid him for it so they could use his name. And then they were like, "Yeah, we're going to change this," because that would not have worked at all. But that's actually something that Marvel very well could have used today if they had the Judge Dredd character. Like it's to be blunt, it's the gayest thing I've ever seen.
I have to laugh because when I was a teenager, still am, I like dabbling in fashion. So when I found out that Jean-Paul Gaultier was making like costumes for movies, I'm like, wow. Okay.
He did amazing in The Fifth Element.
Oh, definitely. And I tell people, I'm just like, oh my God, Jean-Paul Gaultier is making. They're like, who is he? I'm like, you don't know who he is?
The Fifth Element was actually a better Judge Dredd movie than the 1995 Judge Dredd movie was.
Really?
Yeah, it's tonally and visually it was closer. But anyway, then that movie, it got some things right, and it got many, many more things wrong. So that movie is a guilty pleasure of mine, but I'm not a huge fan of it. I'm a huge fan of the 2012 movie with Carl Urban. Now that nailed it completely. Again, some of the out there things are actually better in the 95 movie, and the villains there, like the Mean Machine and the robot, you're never gonna get see them done better than they were in that movie. But tonally, and Dredd himself was done to perfection in the 2012 movie, which actually is my favorite comic book movie of all time.
Really?
above any Marvel movie, above any DC
Really?
movie. Yeah, that's
I've
the one.
I've never
Put as the
never
best one.
seen the 2012 version, so
You're
I'll have
Oh,
to
missing
you
out.
put
have
that
to. It's
on my.
amazing.
It was kind of one of these things with I keep calling them remakes because that's the reason why I didn't see Blade Runner 2049, I believe, because for me Blade Runner was the original Ridley Scott version, and I didn't kind of want that vision tainted, but I heard such great stuff about it that I finally went and saw it. I think a couple of weeks ago on a recommendation from Steve Kenobi, and I'm like, you know what, this is actually not bad, because with a lot of remakes they seem to just kind of like warm it over and throw it out there without any care for the original lore. So it's probably what I thought about the Judge Dredd
Yeah.
reboot. So I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, that's actually unfair because it's based on the same source material, but the story is completely different. And also what I like about the 2012 movie is that unlike the 1995 movie, that tries to be that's it's basically a 90s movie, and there they had like this mentality that the movie is the best of the comics. So like all of the major storylines in the comics have to be in that one movie, so that instead of like spreading them across 6 movies, you ruin all those storylines in that one movie. And that's kind of like what they did in the 1995 movie with Stallone.
Okay.
Whereas in the new one, they don't go through a single storyline. It has similarities with the couple, but instead it's one day in the life of Judge Dredd. It's just one day in his life.
Yeah, it's literally the whole thing is literally in that one lockdown apartment complex, all trying to get one criminal. And the way they delivered it and the scenery, you don't feel like it's like all in the same hallway. Let's say if we're watching like a Star Trek episode, every floor is different, every fight scene. Like when she pulled out the minigun, I lost it. It was the best thing ever. And when you see the splatter on the floor by the body, you're just like, all right. You don't take your eyes off it. You never take your eyes off that movie.
It's an amazing movie. And the amazing thing is that in like every movie, the lead character has to go through an arc, and you saw this in the 95 movie. There, his arc was that he has to lighten up a little bit. Don't be so harsh. Don't pass sentence. They're extenuating circumstances, and discover the joy of an office-based romance. That was kind of like his arc in that movie. Whereas in this movie, Dredd doesn't have an arc. That's given to the point of view character, who is the rookie that he is assessing. She is the one that has an arc in the movie, meaning that Judge Dredd gets to be Judge Dredd the whole movie. And he's essentially unchanged from beginning to end. Like every character in that movie, the people that die or have their lives permanently changed, to them it's a big deal. To Dredd himself, it's Tuesday.
It feels like a futuristic if you want to go down a road like watching a Cops episode, but from the one cop's perspective, and he's also having a training day at the same time with his partner. And it's I can't give it enough credit because that's my guilty pleasure. I will watch it when I want, but I'm kind of the opposite of you. I love Fifth Element, but for the music and for just how cheesy it can be, and Ruby Rod. I'm sorry.
Oh, hold on one second, guys. I'm 111 of you watching. Oh my goodness, thank you so much. Our guest is Andre from Midnight's Edge, and thank you, Josiah L, for the $1.99 super chat. He says, "I'm loving the 3 of you together." Ooh, what's
thank
this?
you, and be sure to hit that like, everyone. Help share the stream too.
Thank you. Oh, wow.
And here you have Jean-Paul Gaultier's original design for the Judge Dredd movie. Like, this was his take on the design. As I said, this is something that would not be out of place in, what's that club in the Blue Oyster?
Oh no!
Wow, that.
So like the producer of the movie, they were like, "Yeah, thank you for that design. We'll pay you so we can use your name, and now we're gonna go and change the hell out of it."
Okay, I'm gonna throw R&B angle into this. The R&B group known as Cameo. I don't know if either of you know who they are. They were like a late 80s, early 90s R&B group. Jean-Paul Gaultier did their costumes, including the iconic cod piece. So I'm kind of disappointed they did not get this outfit here.
Cameo, the one who did Word Up, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, the moment when you said cod piece, I was like, wait a second, Cameo cod piece. This rings a bell. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, this is awful.
Yeah. So yeah, this is decided that no, we're not going to go with this design. We're just going to pay him, and then we're going to do our own thing. Probably was the right decision, because but you see what I'm saying? Like, this is something that if Marvel were to license Judge Dredd today, they'd probably go in this direction.
I believe it. Yeah, everything with the cameo. As soon as you say cod piece, that's what they were known for. Yes, absolutely, because I think they were buying their Jean-Paul Gaultier stuff off the rack, and then Jean-Paul Gaultier heard about Cameo, and that they were buying their their outfits with his brand on off the rack, and he's like, no, I will design something special for you. This is exactly what they said in the interview. So yeah, Jean-Paul Gaultier started designing all their costumes for Cameo. Yeah, I forget which group they were with before they formed Cameo, and I feel ashamed that I can't remember who they were with. And I know it was not Shalimar, no, it was another group. But Cameo, they actually went to a Juilliard School of Music, actually.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
They were an amazing group. Hey, Script Doctor. So they were going to put Judge Dredd in a wetsuit.
Is that the image there? Is that the one you're talking about? Don't worry, he's wearing pants. Is that right?
Yes.
There you go.
Yes.
That's definitely Judge Dredd style right there. I could see that. Judge Dredd and the Cod Pieces would be a great band, you know. I am the law.
Oh my gosh, it was their absolutely iconic look.
Yeah, it's iconic enough that I remember it from not having seen the music video in 20 years.
It's impressive. We're like, yeah, copy who? Okay, yeah, I know what you're talking about now. Oh my goodness. 111 people of you watching. Thank you so much. Andre from Midnight's Edge is our guest. And I'm trying to think. I had a question and then it just completely. Oh,
sorry, Cod Pieces.
I will. What?
I said, sorry, Cod Pieces do that.
You're not wrong. You're funny, CJ. You're funny. Was that Neil deGrasse Tyson?
Oh, dude, I would pay to see that. Can you imagine that? We're gonna be studying the Andromeda galaxy, and he's just wearing a cod piece.
Someone should send him that for a Halloween party or something. That would be hilarious.
I can't
CJ,
wait
Photoshop
for
it.
Yeah, exactly. Make a meme of that. I want to see that. I sincerely want to see that. Oh my gosh, Mr. Judah Formosa, we came to see your beautiful hair and laugh. Well, thank you. Another thing that I love about the Midnight's Edge channel is the retrospectives and the tributes videos that you have. Those are crazy informative. One, where did you come up with the idea for that? And two, out of all of the retrospectives, which one do you believe was the most challenging to put together?
The idea was to make pillar content, and at the same time write something that we were really passionate about writing.
Mm-hmm.
Because like, for instance, it has its moments to write about Star Trek and Star Wars, but you get like tired of it. In the case of like Star Wars, because I don't really care about it. In the case of Star Trek, because it hurts too much, because I do care about it. Mm-hmm. And so it's really nice to like then write some retrospectives of some properties that we actually really do care about. just put passion into. Of course, cameo retrospective. Yeah, well, now that you've put the idea in my mind, maybe for a future music channel, that could happen. But yeah, no, here's like the thing that because the retrospectives is something that, for the most part, I have written, and when I write it, I know everything about it, and then Tom is the one that edits it, and he knows nothing about it. And then he has to do it to perfection. So they are often more challenging for him than they are for me. What I will say was the most challenging was probably the Godzilla one, because it went through so many drafts from multiple writers, because I didn't write that one myself. I only came in and I tried to like give it some direction, because again, I don't know that much about Godzilla. I know the origins, how it all can be traced back to the Castle Bravo incident, which was when a nuclear test bomb suddenly had a whole hell of a lot bigger yield than it was expected to have. So it really damaged like local fishermen and wildlife and nature and everything. And that kind of was like the impetus for Godzilla later on. That combined with Hiroshima, of course, but Castle Bravo was the more direct thing. So I know that part of the story. But beyond that, I'm more sketchy on it. So we had like some extra writers going in, and then Rob did some punch-ups, and then I tried to streamline it all into a cohesive narrative. So for me, that was the most challenging one. And after that was done, then it was like Tom's problem to do the visuals. But he knows Godzilla, so that wasn't so challenging for him. The other one that probably was challenging for him was the Conan the Barbarian one. To me, it was very time-consuming to write, but it was easy enough to write because I kind of like I had all the information. I had to do loads of research and stuff. The challenge was cutting it down to a manageable length, because I originally wanted to do so much more, but I saw that that's not going to work. Like there's like 5 retrospectives in here, not just one. So that had to be cut down. So that was like a process, and when that was done, it was giving it to Tom, and I was like very specific with what I wanted, and he didn't know anything about it at the time. So to him, it was a nightmare to edit. So basically, the whole thing had to be visualized, and those were like the most challenging retrospectives. It wasn't the most challenging video. I still think that the most challenging video I ever wrote to this day was the Star Trek video of the Prime Deception, where we go through the entire history of the franchise and we reveal the case for that the all of Discovery and all of Picard is not part of the same continuity because it's under a different contract. And here are the visual clues that point to the fact that it is under a different contract. That video is almost an hour long, and it nearly killed all of us. Like, it killed me writing it. It killed Rob narrating it, because it went through several different iterations between when he started and it concluded, because we had to like change things in light of new information in like the latter few days as we were assembling it, and finally it almost killed Tom in assembling the thing. But that was a huge video, and it dropped like a nuclear bomb in the entire community. And actually that's when we first got our connection with Robert Meyer Burnett. He had been following us for some time. But after that video came out, he was flooded by requests. Have you seen that video? And then he spoke about it on his own live show, which he had recently started at the time, where he basically said that, yeah, I've seen this video, and I can't confirm every single detail in it, but the gist of what they're saying is very consistent with my own experiences from having worked with Star Trek. So he said that, and then we reached out to him, and then we had him on to come and talk about that video and the revelations in it. So yeah, we're very happy about that. That was like the start of our relationship with him. But that video, oh my God, yeah, that I still wake up screaming in nightmares from that thing.
Oh, well, Dadman Walking, thank you so much for the $5 super chat and being a channel member. 2 of the smoothest and classiest voices on YouTube here. And the game streamer with the great witty lines. Really enjoyed the Midnight's Edge content.
Well, thank you.
You. And let's see. I think I saw a question from Willie Woodward. This is a good one. Another question for Andre. How do you determine what you'll do a mini doc on? And how do you determine what angle you'd look at it?
Well, first, it's like you have like 2 different things, and the way that I differentiate between mini documentaries, which are typically narrated by Rob, and editorials, which are narrated by myself, although I typically write both of them. And how I determine them, that actually depends on the story at hand. So first we have to decide, is this a story we want to cover? And the first thing is this something newsworthy? Is this something fundamentally new? Like, for instance, this thing with George Lucas like a couple of weeks back, where he basically came out and said that he had no connection with Star Wars anymore. This was something that he said like to an online class with his wife and everything. We didn't do a video about that because we didn't deem it newsworthy. Like, everyone knows this. He has no connection with Star Wars anymore. So we do that when there's something newsworthy. That's like the first thing, or something else that is interesting to a lot of people out there in our audience, or something that interests one of us. Like, for instance, the Lady J G.I. Joe series coming up on Amazon. That interested Rob, so we do one about that. Whenever there's something about Conan or Judge Dredd that interests me, so we do a video about that. Godzilla vs. Kong, that interests Tom, so then we do something about that. But other things like Star Wars, Star Trek, Discworld, it's more like, this is something big. This is something big that is not being given the attention it deserves. So let's give that, because this is an interesting case study of either something having gone very, very wrong, or something that's about to go very wrong, that's clear as day is going to blow up in their face, and they go it anyway. So let's document the process. So it's kind of like decisions like that. And then determine the angle. That depends on the information at hand. There we actually start out from a completely blank slate without doing too many assumptions. I'd rather look at the whole thing, and then I go through it from my background as a business analyst. And reading like the Hollywood news and everything like that, to me, is very easy, because I'm not of the film industry, but I am of the banking and finance industry. And one part of that is the film industry. The only difference is that instead of dealing with commodities, you are dealing with entertainment products. But at the core, it's the investment industry. So you have the same process behind it all. You have the same kind of spin, and it's quite easy to untangle once you know what to look for. And I happen to be in a position where I do know what to look for. Plus, I'm an academic, so I know how to write thesis, and I approach every single video as I would an academic thesis, with an introduction, going through the table of contents, building up the argument, and then going through the conclusion, basically like the whole thing doing like a thesis. So that's like the method. Business analysis, and then convey the story basically through a thesis in video format.
Mm-hmm.
And then the angle, well, that depends completely on exactly where the story leads. That's the analysis of what do they say and what's behind the words. And typically we don't see it in isolation, but in a larger whole. Like, for instance, everything going on with Warner Media and AT&T right now, that's part of a larger whole. And then we examine it through that angle. Very rarely do we go in with the attitude, this is messed up because this and that, and then we try to build that argument, because the moment you do that, confirmation bias sets in, and that is when you suddenly put out a video that is not going to age well. And I'm very happy to say that we don't have many of those, which is why we're often late to the party in putting out videos. We're not in a rush, because when something is like big and I see, okay, this is something that's still developing, I'd rather wait till more information is available and then do an informed video than just jump and do an emotional reaction. We don't do that.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, because as an academic, basically as an engineer, I like having the information there and proving a certain thesis, instead of everyone kind of, for lack of a better term, running around with their hair on fire. Look at this, look at this, look at this squirrel, look at this happened. But it's just like, what actually happened? Do we have all the evidence, together? And what does that evidence, prove out? And you're right, it makes your content, age very well, because it's from the standpoint of, well, we heard this might have happened, but let's look and see what actually did happen and make our extrapolation from there.
That's
Exactly.
The problem. That's the problem lately, is that we're getting to a point where rumor mills are started. We're getting stories here and there and half-assed truths, but no one's actually going in and doing that rabbit hole fact-checking what journalism used to be. Even when it's like old school newspaper reporting, when you see in like the old movies and shows, it's like they don't want to put forth the effort to create the quality of their story. They just want to go with whatever the story is loosely based upon, and it feels like you're reading the comic section of a newspaper and you're there for 4 panels and you're bored.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm going to get these 2 super chats really quick. Willie Woodward, thank you so much, my dear, for the $2 super chat. Can't give much more, but thanks for this video. Well, thank you for being here, Willie, and for that very, very great question to ask Andre. And Valiant Renegade, thank you so much for the $5 super chat, and thank you for being a channel member. This interview has been a treat. Glad you did this, Lorena. Andre, what so far do you feel has been your most rewarding accomplishment with Midnight's Edge?
Ooh, that's a very tough question. I think I'm going to go with the community, and especially over the past of the last year. Because like the things that we cover, it's all entertainment. Like, it doesn't really matter. It's not that important in the big deal of things. Yeah, it's our culture, and that does matter. There's importance to that. But at the same time, like for instance, what does Josh Trank's Fantastic Four mean today? Not a lot. The movie is like mostly forgotten. So we had a lot of fun covering that at the time, but it doesn't mean so much when all is said and done. Now, what does mean something, I think, is the messages that we've gotten over the course of the last year, which has been a tough year on everyone, where we have had people that said they've lost their jobs, they've lost their homes, they've lost loved ones, they've lost their health, and they don't know how they would have dealt with it had it not been for Midnight's Edge and the community that we provide in the live chats, in the streams, in the Facebook groups, just by providing some content that lets people know that you're not really all insane. Like, here's some rationality for you all, and some fun to go down with it, and some community that you can be part of. And we welcome everyone. And the messages that we have gotten from people that basically say that this is my line to sanity, this is how we hold on in a really, really dark spot otherwise. I think that honestly has been the most rewarding, because there you hear that you've actually made a real impact in someone's lives. And that's much more important than any video or any coverage of any entertainment property.
That's the truth, though, Andre. You, Tom, your whole crew, even when you're having Polly coming on now, you guys have built not just a community, but you built like a sort of like pop culture family where people can go there, just listen to you, and you guys joke, talk stories, bring out the facts, bring out the this or that, and they're there for hours with you. It's like going on a roller coaster that never ends. And I don't think a lot of them ever get bored, because they enjoy how you directly talk to them as people and not as someone hiding on a colored super chat. You make them feel welcome, and that's a lot of the channel's purpose, is to make sure that not only the chat is entertained, but you are entertained by entertaining them and getting that feedback back. Even if it's negative feedback, you're still able to build on it.
Yeah.
And here's a super chat from Stephanie Janisex Smugglers Cantina for $4.99. Thank you so much. She says, culture is so important, and the reality you guys put out there means a lot. Absolutely.
Well, thank you. Exactly.
Absolutely.
I'd like to quickly add, though, do you think now with this avatar change, Andre, you might want to do that video now?
Well, you certainly make it become closer. I do love that avatar. It is amazing. It really is.
I'll put a galaxy picture behind him later.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. And thank you so much, Mandy, for becoming a member of my channel. Thank you so much, my dear.
Is that true?
Very
yes.
cool.
Yes.
No, what
true.
Jeeva's just highlighted.
What did I miss?
Rip DMX.
Oh no.
No.
Oh, for real. I know he was on life support. But oh man, I'm so sad to hear that.
Oh yeah, that sucks. I enjoyed some of his I'm not into hip hop as a general thing, but I did enjoy a couple of his songs. So yeah, very sorry to hear that.
Likewise. Yeah, that's that's so bad. That's so bad. Last question that I want to ask you. First of all, thank you. 110 people watching. I think this is the highest number of viewers we've had for a live after school special. So thank you so much for the support, you guys. Question I have for Andre. So, where did the idea for toxic femininity come from?
Actually, the idea for that I have to credit to Tom. He was the mastermind who thought of that, and the idea, from my understanding, is basically that like the accusation that is typically thrown at many people in our general little sphere of the internet, like the online pundits, those who are critical of the narrative that is being put out there, is that you're all toxic man babies. And then the people in the community look around and say, this is actually a plenty diverse, like naturally diverse community. We're not just all man babies here. Like most of us, yeah, we may be men, but we have kids, we have real jobs. It's not fair to lambast us all of that. And also, what about the many prolific women in this sphere of the internet? Why don't you talk about those? Do you pretend that they don't exist? And then Tom was the one that had that stroke of brilliance that, you know what, yeah, let's actually highlight some of that diversity. And like you call it toxic masculinity, well, let's turn that term against you and call it toxic femininity, and have some women come together and speak truth to power. So that was the idea for that. The my biggest contribution was that it started out on Midnight's Edge After Dark, which again was Tom's idea. But I do believe that I don't know if it was my idea or if it was his idea, but at the very least I approved of, yes, this is really cool, this is working, let's have it on the main channel.
Well, I know it's a show. Before I came on, it was a show that I would watch, and I thought it was really cool. So I was honored to like get on Toxic Femininity. And I remember the first time that I was on the show, up to that time, I'd been on streams, so there were maybe 20 people, 25 people, not a whole lot of people. So the first time I got invited to be on Toxic Femininity, I made the mistake of looking at how many people were watching. And I think it was like close to 900 or something. And I felt like I wanted a paper bag to breathe into because I'm just like, who are all these people and where did they come from? But it was just so much fun talking with the ladies and again, dispelling that idea that it's just all toxic men, or it's just like all men who had like an issue with what's going on in a particular, segment of fandom. So I love that space is there, and it is just, yeah, it's so much fun. It's so much fun. It should be illegal. I'm glad it's not, because sometimes when I meet with the girls, literally we'll start talking so much. It's like, okay, we need to save stuff for the show. We're not gonna have a show tonight. But yeah, I absolutely love it. So I'm glad Com came up with the idea. But I said I have to find out. I have to find out Andre's point of view on the show.
Yeah.
Andre.
I have to say that it's great to have you on it. Like, you've been a huge contribution to the show. Both you and Mandy, who is also in the chat right now. And the show wouldn't be what it is today without you. So really grateful to have you there, and Nina, of course, and everyone else of the regulars. So yeah, great. And OG Star Wars girl and everyone else who drops in. So that is cool. Also, I saw Dira Mad. He also had like a comment there that I wanted to respond to. He said, my favorite recent retrospective is the one about Zorro. As a fan of the Disney series, it was great to learn more about the origins of this hero. Yeah, that retrospective, that was also like quite a challenging one, and because it came about so quickly, because the Zorro's 100th anniversary, not as a character in existence, but as a movie character, was in 2020. And you know how you have a ton of time until you suddenly have no time left at all? Yeah, like that time runs out. That's kind of what happened with that Soto mini documentary. We're like, oh crap, it's almost New Year's Eve, and we really want to put this 100th anniversary retrospective out while it's still the 100th anniversary retrospective. So that was actually our New Year's or like New Year retrospective. So we published it just in the nick of time, and it was. I would have liked to put a little bit more into it, but again, it probably would have been more nitpicky. I felt like that the message was put in there, but that was also a great fun one to write because I'm a fan of the Soto character.
I will have to check it out because I liked watching the Zorro movies with like my grandfather, so I loved watching that. I like the movie with Antonio Banderas in it too. However, for reasons.
Yeah.
But yeah, just watching the old Zorro serials in black and white with my grandfather, those were just some really great memories. So I will definitely have to check out that.
Yeah, that's where you also had the first female Zorro in those serials back in the day.
I had a question though, Andre, if you want to asking. Someone asked me this last night to ask you. I'm making this up because there was no one I want to ask. Are you going to be starting an ASMR channel anytime soon? Or are you just going to talk to the chat for hours really close to the mic and just make people fall asleep really comfortably? Because I'd be down for that.
I don't think that I'll do a whole channel. But for our Patreons, I have been considering doing something like that. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
hear that, Patreons.
Nice.
So I've been considering doing something like that, maybe in Norwegian.
Speaking of Norwegian, because I know you have brought this up, and every time I think about it, I laugh because I've been catching up on the Muppet Show, starting with season 1. And I believe you said at one time, Andre, that the Swedish chef actually sounds Norwegian.
Yes, this is true. Because if you go to Sweden and you bring up the Swedish chef there, my understanding is that the Swedes will say that he doesn't act Swede, he doesn't sound Swedish, but he does sound Norwegian. And as a Norwegian, I agree with that. He does sound Norwegian. He has like these particular things in his voice and his accents that you don't have in Swedish, but that you totally have in in Norwegian. So yeah, he does sound Norwegian. So I like the theory that he's actually a Norwegian that pretends to be Swedish because there's more Swedes in Hollywood, and it's easier to make it there as a Swede than as a Norwegian.
That's interesting. That's interesting. That just makes me laugh because and I think I had said this on Twitter not too long ago. One of my hobbies that like exploded is researching my family, especially with DNA testing. So with the name Reina Creole, of course, that's lots of different cultures over here for like 300 years or so. And one of the ethnicities that popped up in my DNA test was Norwegian. And I'm just like, I'm sorry, is that statistical noise? I don't quite believe that. So I ignored it for the longest time. And then had 2 DNA matches who were second cousins who matched me, my aunt, and my sister. And it all points to some place called Rogaland over in Norway.
Rogaland, yeah, that's in the south.
Rogaland. Okay.
Rogaland, yeah, that's actually the oil capital of Norway.
Oh.
Yeah, it's in the southwest. It's borders the ocean, borders the Atlantic Ocean.
It's beautiful pictures that I saw, and from what I understand, that Norway and that Anglia area of England did a lot of commerce. So it appears that the common ancestor that we had came from Norway to England, anglicized his name, and apparently that branch of the family stayed there. And my branch of the family went to New England, which Cape Cod, that's another like huge fishing area. And for those who want to know but are too polite to ask, no, it has zero to do with slavery. Actually, they were all abolitionists, interestingly enough. So I'm learning a whole lot about Norway, but I just had to laugh when it was just like the Swedish chef sounds Norwegian instead of not like Americans would know. We wouldn't know.
Yeah, no, but like you ask any Swede, they will say that he doesn't sound Swedish. He does sound Norwegian, and any Norwegian will agree. He totally does.
Funny. Oh, the Zardoz, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. I so appreciate that. You have a great channel. Keep it up and keep speaking truth. We need it. Well, I definitely will, especially when it comes to Disney. I have 2 Disney-related videos coming out. I love throwing salt at Disney because it's not the company that I remember as a kid. And let's see. Thank you, Stephanie. Another $4.99 super chat. Thank you so much. My cousins in Fortune and Sigan say hi. I probably completely destroyed that. But thank you so much for that.
Songen, it's in Norway.
Songen, $4.99. My tongue gets twisted up when I'm reading like Norwegian names and areas, and I'm like, what's the O with the cross? What kind of sound does that make? And it's fascinating and frustrating at the same time. Yeah, like that with the strike through the just like
Yeah,
what kind of
that's Norwegian. Yeah, that's because that's the Norwegian whereas the Swedes they have it with like the O with two dots over. So that's how you can instantly tell Norwegian from Swedish.
Oh, okay, okay. Bye, Nina. That helps me out because there's too many Scandinavians that split off, and I'm like, I don't know which which one is who. My DNA shows some Scandinavian, but I suspect they're either Norse who migrated to Ireland or some polar bears from Svalbard. Oh wow. Well, mine, I think they were just they were fishermen and they came from Norway over to England and changed their last name to make it anglicized, surname of Nickerson, and it all went from there.
What was the surname? It was
The surname in what became the United States was Nickerson, but the Norwegian last names associated, I think I'm saying this wrong probably. Bjorkheim is one, Larsdatter is one, Pettersdatter is another. Those are the three that I remember right off the bat.
Yeah, those would be like more ancient forms of Norwegian names because you have like the it's before there's a family name, so they have the name of the father. Like for instance, Pedersdotter. This is a woman, and her surname would be daughter of Peder, which would then be the father's first name.
Oh, okay.
And same with the
Okay.
other one. I didn't quite catch it, but he would then have been the son of, and then the first name of the father.
Oh, okay. Okay. I think that one was Petter. I think it was Petter's daughter. It's so cool delving into all of these names, but yeah, they're all around like the late 1600s, early 1700s. It's so cool. I love finding
Very
out
cool.
all of that stuff. And oh, Stephanie, you are so generous. Grandpa came over in 1908 with a last name
Ytteri.
Ytteri.
Yeah, that's a real ancient name right there. That's
Ytteri.
awesome. Yeah, it means outer.
Ytteri means outer. Oh, okay.
It has a number of meanings, but one of them is outer.
Oh, okay. Hey, Steve, how you doing? John's
Hey, Stig.
son, etc. Yeah, you can kind of see like how those names are. It's like, is it the daughter, son of,
Yes,
and some of them have the names attached, to them. So it's like two surnames. It's sometimes it can make you go cross-eyed trying to look at them all in the tree, but they're fascinating. It's interesting, and it's a part of my family history I never would have known existed. So one day I will have to get to Norway. I will probably be frozen because I get cold very quickly.
Come in summer, and it won't be so bad.
In the summer, okay, that's probably when I'm gonna have to do it, because there's just too much Islander blood in me. I don't know what that is.
Also, there's a couple of comments that I'd like to address.
Go ahead.
Josiah
Go ahead,
L said, "Is Andre reading old Norse tales?" And the answer to that is yes, I am. Finally, I'm recording them right now for Patreons. I've been talking it up for a long time, and everything has gotten in the way. So I do have a backlog to go through, and I feel really guilty for Patreons, but Norse Sage or Norse sagas for Patreons is about to come. So yeah, that's coming very, very soon. And
Okay.
Donkeysaurus Rex asks, does Andre favor bokmål or nynorsk? And in Norway, you actually have two official languages. Well, three if you count the native Sami language. But you have two main languages, and one of them is bokmål, and the other is nynorsk. And nynorsk, or New Norwegian, is a reconstruction of an older form of Norwegian. whereas bokmål or book language
Mm-hmm.
is like the main Norwegian today, and it's actually more influenced by the Danish written language. Of the two, I'm native to bokmål. However, that being said, Nynorsk, New Norwegian, is the more lyrical of the two. It's actually more fit for poetry and for music. Yes, Stig Kenobi says Nynorsk is pure hell. I hated it in school. Yes, as did we all. It was a pain having to go through it, and we had like various names for it, and we wanted to beat up the guy who invented it and everything like that. But that being said, it actually is the more lyrical, and it's more fit to music, including heavy music. So yeah. There's absolutely merit to it. So I've come to appreciate it more as an adult than I did when I was in school and I had to learn it. And they're almost exactly the same. So it's just like annoying differences.
Wow. Let's see. Somebody said Stig Kenobi. It could be worse. It could be Icelandic.
Oh no.
And modern day Icelandic, that's actually identical to, or 90% identical to the language that was spoken in Norway during the Viking era. So that's kind of like, if you wonder what the Vikings sounded like, go to Iceland, hear them talk. That's what the Vikings sounded like. Because Iceland was like settled by Norwegians who went there. And when mainland Norway and the language there was changed over the next few centuries, actually the next millennia, the language basically didn't change that much over the island that was Iceland, because they were isolated. So to them, the original Viking language of Norse is still intelligible to them. It's almost the same as what they're speaking today. That's pretty cool.
I always tell people, I said, I think it's really cool that I have like Viking roots on one side. That's my mother's side of the family. And then on my father's side of the family, somehow goes back to Genghis Khan. So that's like a strange combination of those two.
This is why I never anger
conquerors on both sides.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And as Stig Kenobi also points out, subtitles on action movies are hilarious. Yeah, because like on the state channel, they have like, they're required by law that so much of their content has to be in the other Norwegian, so they often use that for subtitles, which is actually extra painful because then you read subtitles in the new Norwegian, which is different from what you usually speak. And especially then when they do this with like action movies and stuff like that. So you certainly have like Vin Diesel, and he's translated as speaking new Norwegian instead of like the normal thing. That's, yeah, hilarious stuff.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Let's see, David Stout, Reina, Creole. I'm 20% Irish, Scottish, Welsh, and 27% Northern Europe and 13% Western Europe. I am 2% Irish, about 5% Scottish. Welsh is in there somewhere. Couple places in Northern Europe and Western Europe. Yeah, pretty much France and Spain. 80% of my family's roots are actually through the Caribbean. Only about 20% are from what became the United States, the 13 British colonies, exclusive of the 14th and the 15th British colony, which were British East and British West Florida. For a while. They got it from Spain as a consequence of the 7 Years' War, but then Spain backed the Patriots. So once the United States won the Revolutionary War, Spaniards kicked the British, most of them, out of Florida. Some of them stayed. But yeah, it's been a crazy history. Oh, and there's actually a couple of, they weren't Norwegian. I don't think they did. There were a couple actually in Spanish Florida. I have a 1783 Spanish census where it lists where everyone is from. And you have quite a few who are from Norway and Sweden. They were mostly there. They were just like in the they were like a lot of sailors. So it's cool to see that. I always have to talk about that. Tudaleni Ilonga. I hope I said your name right. 100% African. Yeah, I have two that I've been in communication with. One is from the Democratic Republic of the Congo outside of Kinshasa, and another one is in Nigeria. And they're all coastal. You'll have to let me know what area in Africa that you are from. I am very, very interested. Yeah, I do shows from time to time with like all the history of my family. It's really cool. One thing I learned: never assume. It's dangerous to assume that. Let's see. Oh, Namibia. Cool. Well, thank you so much for watching. Oh my gosh, you guys have been absolutely amazing. Oh, you can't send a super chat. Sometimes YouTube will do that. I don't know why, but sometimes YouTube will do that. And I'll go with Stig here. As long as you don't have Swedish in you, you are good. People get soy poisoning from shaking. You know what? I have Stig to thank for any time I see a Swedish DNA match. My nose kind of wrinkles like, okay.
Yes. Good going, Stig. Norway is proud.
So I had to blame Stig for me getting that kind of attitude. It was like, your Swedish match. Okay. That's kind of like how I don't acknowledge that I'm distant cousins of Justin Bieber. Thank you, French Canadians. Anyway.
Yeah. There's another cool comment here from David Stout. If you can highlight that. Yeah, there exactly. Because he wants you to tell me about the Pathfinder movie that takes place during the 11th to 12th century America, where the Indian is half Icelandic and half Native American, and Clancy Brown spoke ancient Icelandic. Yes, I'm quite familiar with this movie. It's with Carl Urban, and I can actually tell you something about it. It's a remake. That movie is a remake of a Norwegian movie from 1987, also called Pathfinder, or actually, since that movie is in that third Norwegian language, Sami, which is like the native population, it's also called Ufelas, and it's the same basic story, but it's set among rivaling tribes. Among the native population of northern Norway. Of course, they're also in northern Sweden and northern Russia. But yeah, so do check that movie out. It's vastly superior. Yeah, exactly. As Steve Gano said, this is the one. It's a ripoff rather than a remake of the Norwegian Pathfinder. So that's well worth checking out.
I will have to put that one on my list. There's so many movies and not enough time. Oh my gosh. But speaking of time, thank you, Andre, for just being so generous with your time, hanging out with us. It has been an absolute pleasure having you on, and thanks so much for joining us. And is there anything coming up? I know the 200K celebration, but anything coming up that you'd like to promote about Midnight's Edge?
Well, the most important thing is actually, as you said, it's the 200K stream, which is on Thursday at 11 a.m. LA time. Is the time that I do remember right now. And there will be more announcements of what to look out for in that. So yeah, do check that out.
Exciting.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. Please do subscribe to Midnight's Edge and all of the other associated Midnight's Edge channel, especially the one archiving the live streams that we have going on over there. Please do subscribe to Fat Steven Seagal. He is well on his way to 1,000 subs. Where are you now? Like
720 of 1,000, and my watch hours are like 4,600. I'm already done those.
Okay,
Yes.
excellent. We got to get Fat Steven to that 1K. So please subscribe to him. Please do subscribe to me. I'm trying to hit 2K by the end of May. And yeah, we hit that. Yeah, I'll be wearing the cheerleader.
Yeah, there is
outfit
definitely going to be a cheerleader outfit stream. I'm going to bring that up. I've been holding my tongue the whole time. I don't want to embarrass Reina at all. But yeah.
I'm looking for the Buffy the Vampire Slayer cheerleader outfit.
Yeah.
Though.
I'll wear the same one.
And also, before we tune out, Tutalini Longa, which I probably butchered the pronunciation of, sorry about that, and he wonders if I'm going to do a cover on the Ray Fisher interview. Oh, I'm sure we'll be talking about that tomorrow in our morning show, Midnight's Edge in the morning. So yeah, we'll probably bring that up there. Wouldn't be surprised if that's a topic there. So I don't think I'm going to do a separate video on it, but we'll certainly bring it up in the live show.
Excellent. And the live show is every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I know for me, 12 p.m. Eastern.
Yes, which is 9 a.m. LA time. And if you're in Europe, it's at 6 p.m. Central European time. It's 5 p.m. if you're in the UK.
Excellent. And thank you so much, AJ Journeyman, for subscribing. I appreciate that. All right, everyone. Well, we want to thank you, Andre, for hanging out and spending your time with us. And folks, thanks so much for being with us, hanging out with us. And if you are watching the replay of this live stream, thank you so much for watching the replay. Thank you for all the likes, shares, subscribes, super chats, all of that. Thank you so much. And we will see you next time. Bye.
Goodbye.
Take care.
Just remember, 2K subs, cheerleader outfit.
I'm shopping for it now, actually.
I'm trying to find one in my bra size. It's really hard to find one for man. Oh my.